In my work on discourses of war, I have talked about the role of hypocrisy within the context of war narratives. Often, the story of saving the other is deployed in order to carry out the worst forms of imperial intervention. We have seen this in the context of Iraq. The saving of the Iraqi people offered the backdrop on the basis of which the US carried out its imperial interventions in Iraq. In the context of Syria, let's once again pay attention to the use of narrative, the use of language framed within the context of human rights to articulate an imperial invasion. Isn't it ironic? Isn't it paradoxical that the very language of human rights that speak of the rights of the individual human being to life are deployed in order to justify imperial interventions that use military, that use air force, that use the navy in order to carry out the invasion of spaces which inevitably end up killing people. We have seen in the examples of Iraq, in the examples of Libya, in the examples of Afghanistan, the large numbers of civilians within these local spaces that have been killed. The irony, however, is that this mass-scale killing has been carried out in the name of human rights. In this particular clip that we will watch, we will see Human Rights Watch talk about this notion of imperial intervention as justification for protecting the people. And we will pay attention to the particular kinds of arguments that are put forth here as a way to justify the invasion. So let's watch the interview.
I'd like to, if I could I come back to your opening statement, though? You say we're talking about human rights versus human life. That was a really odd formulation. I mean, let me just play that out a little bit. I guess what you're saying is that, in the name of human rights, might a military strike be authorized, and therefore
we
human
have
life
seen
would be at stake?
that in the past many times. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, but let's play that out here, because first of all, even if you take what the U.S. is proposing, what they would be doing is to, either strike empty buildings like the Defense Ministry, which would probably be worthless, or something that would be more significant would be, bombing the planes and the helicopters on air bases.
Listen to the narrative of human rights. The idea that the US would be striking empty buildings, or the idea that US would be attacking more significant military resources such as helicopters, seems completely oblivious to the reality of war. That it is actually civilians on the ground within those settings that are killed. It does happen to be that these buildings that are often so strategically targeted by these targeted missiles happen to exist in civilian contexts. Even the most precise of technologies, the drones, which have been created by the US as an instrument of precise attack, are not able to kill without producing side effects of civilian murders. So within that context, Human Rights Watch buys into the overall narrative of the US that somehow these human rights interventions are justified because the impact of them is limited, and after all, they're not going to kill humans, which is incorrect. So let's play this out further.
Prof, I don't know if you have been to Damascus. I've been to Damascus just last year, and let me just tell you that the Ministry of Defense is located in a very heavily populated area. There are a lot of civilians around that area where the ministry is located. So your assumption that it would be empty is a bit of a stretch.
Look, first of all, I'm not advocating targeting the Defense Ministry, which is pointless. You may remember when the U.S. targeted the Belgrade Defense Ministry, and they utterly destroyed it without any civilian casualties nearby. But my point is that doing nothing means many civilians get killed. It means that Assad basically continues to use chemical weapons with impunity, and we're going to see not just 1,400 killed, but 14,000 or 140,000. So where does this stop? So
pay attention once again to the use of language and the slippages of language. So first of all, there isn't really an evidence base currently that points specifically and precisely to the role of Assad within the context of the current chemical weapons in Syria. More importantly, look at the slippage when Human Rights Watch tries to move the scope of the killings from 1,000 to 100,000 to more than 100,000. So again, this speculative move that sort of keeps juxtaposing greater numbers without really the evidence base becomes the basis for an imperial intervention. In this sense, then, human rights is complicit with the broader US narrative of control, of usage of power, and of usage of force in order to militarily intervene without needing to be held accountable to the broader international community, without needing to provide evidence to the broader international community, and really operating on the basis of speculative rhetoric, not being embedded within data or within evidence. Thank you.